October 17th, 2017. Board of Selectmen meeting. Sorry, my date screwed up. Can everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Take it away. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Do we have any amendments to the agenda this evening?
Item.
Aaron,
No. Make a motion to accept the agenda.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You want to accept?
Yeah, it's two people. Gets me screwed up.
Oops, sorry.
Selectman Livingston is had a prior engagement, so she will not be joining us unfortunately tonight. So it'll just be Gary and I. A couple announcements, real quick. The Ayer special fall town meeting will take place on Monday, October 23rd, 2017, at 7 p.m. at the Ayer Regional High School, Ayer Shirley Regional High School. Ayer Shirley Regional High School and the town of Ayer are pleased to announce the high school journalism students will be covering our Ayer Board of Selectmen's meetings starting this evening. So I think this is going to be a great program. We've worked with Dr. Malone and Principal Varga to set this up, and I think it's one of a kind in the area. So thank you, Dr. Malone and Mrs. Capasa, and our student reporter tonight, Nicole Patano. So thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this. Great. Yeah, absolutely.
So we have coverage.
Yes. It's nice to have you. Is there anybody in the audience for public input this evening? All right.
Yes, I got the words.
And warrants?
Yeah, account payable warrants, 2017, October 3rd, number 18-06, for $1,352,463.39. And payroll warrant, 18-07, from 10/11/2017, $316,808.07.
All right. First off, can we have Alicia in the audience?
Oh, wait.
Hello.
What did you done first tonight to make it
Come
easier?
That's nice of you guys.
What'd you pay up?
So we went through this, actually Alan went through it with you the last time. We've got a lot of lawyers working on this subordination. It is 449 Main Street. There is a preservation restriction, there's a affordable housing restriction, and there's a loan. So there's been multiple subordinations that have to be done. And this one is, for the second time, the affordable housing restriction. There's 4 lawyers working on it, and so we've gotten 2 changes again, and you had approved it the first time. So if you noted, I highlighted in yellow, and basically, as one of the lawyers said, it's basically, belt and suspenders type thing, changes. It reiterates what's been said already, but just to make it clear. So it's notwithstanding said subordination, nothing contained herein shall be construed as a subordination by DHCD or the municipality of their rights as set forth in section 16 of the AHRA. And that's just saying that we still have our affordable housing restriction. We're subordinating section 13. And that just says that we give permission for them to go get refinanced. Okay?
So just the second lien holder subordination as usual?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then they put in that, and then the lawyers for the bank put in this subordination shall serve as written consent by DHCD that we are agreeing to subordinate, that the municipality to Bonnet Realty LLC refinancing the premises as required by Section 9. I'm sorry, it wasn't 13, it's Section 9 of the AHRA. And those are the 2 changes. They just are reiterating what was said. So we had sent this off to DHCD, and then the changes came in a second time. So, do you have any questions?
Well, we've done this once already. I'm just, what do you need us to do it?
Just vote on it and sign.
All right. Gary?
Make a motion to approve the amended subordination of the town's affordable housing restriction on 49 Main Street. Signature by the board.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
Have a good evening.
All right,
You too.
Okay.
Nice to see you as always.
Yeah.
Robert, let me turn it over to you if you'd like to.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
And feel free to, I can.
Yeah, pardon my voice.
Voice goes out on me.
Before we get started on the Nasoya discussion, I just wanted to, through you, Mr. Chair, recognize the people that will be participating in some form this evening. We have Ms. Mary Jude Pigsley, the regional director from DEP, and her team. She will come up first and introduce her team and address the board. And as the board recalls from October 3rd, Ms. Pigsley had contacted me, and we thought it would be important that she comes to the Board of Selectmen. Had a prior commitment scheduled, so is able to join us now, which we're appreciative of. We also have the representatives from Nasoya, Mr. Alvin Maquette, to Daniel Zhang, the plant engineers, as long as with their air quality specialist as well. From the town's team, we did meet with the DEP and Nasoya last Friday. Representing the town was myself, the DPW Superintendent Mark Wetzel, Ms. Bridget Braley from the Neshoba Boards of Health, and Mr. Charlie Schultz, the Building Commissioner. Also in the audience are two members of the Air Board of Health, Ms. Mary Spinner, Ms. Trish Peters, and State Representative Jennifer Benson is also in the audience as well. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I think it would be appropriate to start.
Sure.
Ms. Pigsley.
But I understand, does Senator Eldridge have a representative here as well?
I don't see one at this time.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want me to sit and speak with you, or would you?
Yeah, you can face
There's
us.
plenty of room.
Yeah.
Face us. Bring a chair
And-
up and,
They're more than welcome to
Yeah.
join you if you.
Yeah,
yeah. Come on up.
I'll,
Come on up.
Yeah.
All right. Oh. There's a coffee chair over there for you.
take the comfort
Are
chair.
there any executives from the Soya present in the room, or is it? You're an executive, sir? Oh, okay, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing us to come tonight. We've been in communication with the town administrator, been in communication with the representative who's been asking us some good questions about what's going on. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to come and explain what the administrator has asked, which is what is DEP's role in this situation with these ongoing odor complaints. With me tonight, John Beeling is the Deputy Regional Director for our Bureau of Air and Waste. The Bureau of Air and Waste includes air quality and industrial wastewater, two of the programs that are relevant to this discussion. Giles Steele Perkins is our Compliance and Enforcement Section Chief who works with John. Giles has a long history with this, including one particular member of his staff, Michelle Delmar, who's been involved in this case for many years, so we have the luck to have continuity of the people within the department who've been working on this since the company was Vitasoy, and it's helpful to us not to have new people have to come in and figure out, starting from scratch, what's been going on. So what has been going on are these odor cases, these odor complaints for an extended period of time. They've been brought to our attention by the town, by Bridget on behalf of the Board of Health for the town, as well as a number of residents who I assume some of the residents are here. When the facility was operated by Vitasoy back in the 2006-2007 timeframe, we discovered violations of the air quality permit that the facility had at that time. They installed some equipment without getting approval, without an amendment to their air permit or a new one. And they were violating conditions of that permit related to the air scrubbers, which people probably know, the air scrubbers address odors, hydrogen sulfide odors that come off the wastewater treatment system and address through cleaning, through carbon, the chemicals from the air. In that 2007 timeframe, we entered into an administrative consent order with the company to undertake corrective actions regarding those violations. Shortly thereafter, in 2008, it wasn't going well with Vitasoy, and we required them to come in and get a new air quality permit, which they did, and again, it was specifically to address odor controls. So we issued that new permit in 2010. Odor complaints started up again in 2012, 2013 timeframe. We issued them a notice of noncompliance, which is the first step in the Mass DEP enforcement process. And then we had a second administrative consent order in 2013. The violations at that time were creating a condition of air pollution and some wastewater treatment violations. We required Vitasoy to undertake an engineering analysis of the industrial wastewater system and have an engineering company determine what upgrades would be necessary to prevent the odors. We issued a new air quality permit after that engineering study. This was in 2014. And a change in that permit was they had 2 new scrubbers that were installed to handle the air cleaning. They did not work together. They worked separately, so we'll come back to that. Unfortunately, at the same time we were undergoing that permitting exercise, we were still getting verified odor complaints through the Board of Health from the neighbors. So in the spring of 2014, something that we can do under these consent orders is not only does it deal with the actions a company has to take going forward, but if they fail to meet one of the steps that they've agreed to in the document, we can demand stipulated penalties, and in this case the penalties were set at $1,000 a day. Typically we have an escalating scale, $250 a day for the first 15 days or 30 days, but these consent orders just required a straight $1,000 a day, no scaling up. So we had a stipulated penalty demand in 2014. We had a second stipulated penalty demand in 2015 for the ongoing air violations. And then in the spring of 2016, Nasoya acquired the facility. We've been working with the company about these necessary upgrades because of the ongoing complaints related to the equipment that Vitasoy had been using under that 2014 air quality permit. I know the company's been to this board and to the Board of Health to describe some of the improvements, how you have to both capture the air contaminants and then you have to destroy them. So there's a capture efficiency and a destruction efficiency that we've been talking with them about, and part of one of those changes has been to put those scrubbers in series with each other instead of 2 separate waste streams. And I'm not a technical person, first of all, so I shouldn't even be talking about that, but the company's here and the company can speak to any of the technical questions that people have. Bridget has been keeping us involved, has been in pretty much constant contact with Michelle Delmar. She's been involved throughout. Our air quality permitting staff, who also work for John, have been reviewing the information that the company's been giving us about some of these proposed changes involving air pollution control equipment. So we've been working with them going along. And I know in May, the Board of Health had to issue an order or a letter order, I'm not sure what the terminology is for your enforcement, demanding corrective actions, and this was back in May, and still the odors are continuing, and here we are tonight. The company has been very cooperative and responsive to DEP, but its facility is still producing odors, and we know that because the Board of Health has confirmed that. For purposes of our regulations, the Mass DEP regulations, it's a violation to create a condition of air pollution. And a condition of air pollution is basically defined as a nuisance. If you are creating an odor that interferes with the use and enjoyment of someone's property, that's a violation. That's a condition of air pollution. So that's the standard that we are enforcing. So even though we've been working cooperatively with the company, they've been very responsive, we've told them that the improvements that they're proposing are going to involve not just air quality permitting and engineering review, but it's going to be in the context of an enforcement action. And I think based on what I've heard from the company, I think they understand that they have to do better. So we did have this meeting on Friday. The company described its plan for adding some additional air pollution control equipment. No pun intended, I think it's a little bit up in the air at this point in time, whether it's going to be an additional scrubber or some other technology that we discussed with one of our engineers who was at the meeting with us. And again, certainly the company can speak to that better than I can. But they've committed to getting us a proposal for this new system by November 23rd. And in the meantime, John will be drafting an administrative consent order that's going to include that November 23rd deadline, as well as other deadlines that we'll identify as we're having these informal discussions with the engineering staff with this new proposal, whichever it turns out to be. What I would like to include as a requirement in the consent order is a third-party odor response protocol. And I did raise this at the meeting on Friday. Odor cases are hard for us because we can't get there in time to smell something. We definitely can't get to Ayer. It's 40 minutes from our office. So
Last weekend you could have, from California, because it lasted so long, but just throw that in there.
Usually we can't get here, and odors are ephemeral. The wind changes and it's gone. I know in some cases Bridget can't get here in time to smell it, but somebody smelled it, and it's not there anymore. So what we've required in other administrative consent orders where we've had odor issues with a company has been this third-party response protocol, and it's an independent third-party engineering company that is local, and they can respond in 10 minutes or less, and they can be at the site in the neighborhood, wherever the call comes in, they can be there to identify if they smell an odor. They drive the neighborhood, they get out of the car, and they walk around. And I think sometimes people feel better about that when they're not calling the company. And I'm not saying that the company is not trustworthy. I'm just saying that I know from having been in industrial facilities that have been doing this for a long time, and these guys can back me up on this, but you're at a place and you smell it all the time, you don't smell it anymore. You can work at a landfill and you can come home smelling like a landfill and you don't realize you smell. It's just, you get this nasal fatigue. So it's not that the company really wouldn't be trying to identify the odor, it's just not, it's not the best response. We like it when there's a third party that comes out into the neighborhood to respond. We're not going to dictate how that would happen. It works. We have a system at a large facility now that has a phone-in number. When you dial in, it creates an email chain that I'm included on, and other people in the office. It goes to the company, and it goes to the engineering firm. The engineering firm sends somebody out. She shows up. She does the inspection, she prepares a report. That report goes back by email to all the same people. So in the space of half an hour, I can see the email come in with the complaint, and then I see the report come back from the engineering company. And it's worked well, and I'll be honest with you, it works really well for me because then I don't have to argue with the company about whether it smells, because their consultant goes out and it smells. So I don't have to take somebody's word for it. I don't need to wait for Bridget to show up. I don't need to send Giles out in the field. I have a piece of paper from a third party that says, I verified a smell. I smelled this standing in Joe's driveway, and that's a really good thing for me. Like I said, we raised this on Friday. I don't want to dictate the form, certainly not the company. I do think it's something that should be seriously considered. John called the CEO of the company after the meeting to raise this issue, and I am hopeful that they're willing to commit to this in a consent order. I don't want to put anybody on the spot here, but John did speak with Ross about that. We also asked Ross to consider restrictions on the Saturday operations. I know they're not operating on Sundays. We asked him to think about that, and we're having an ongoing conversation about operational restrictions. And the one thing that really struck me at the meeting on Friday was I heard a couple of times that something was due either to training, somebody needed retraining, or it was operator error. And for a company of this size and sophistication, there should not be problems training people. There should not be people untrained. There should not be problems keeping people trained. People can't make mistakes when it affects somebody else's property and enjoyment of that property. So I would like there to be something to address this theme of mistakes happen. It's not acceptable. Some of these problems are hard. This engineering stuff, if it could be fixed, I am confident the company would have fixed it by now. They are actually spending a lot of money on corrective actions, and we're just not there yet. We're happy to offer our opinion to our engineering staff about how that's going to happen. Training's not hard. That is not a hard thing to fix. So I think as part of the consent order, we're going to need really beefed up provisions about training and proof back to the department about what those improvements have been. And it's not a one-shot deal. I mean, when you commit to a training program, every new person who comes in has to be trained, and there has to be periodic retraining, especially if they are going to be making changes to the air pollution control equipment, wastewater processes, other internal things that they've been talking to us about improving that capture efficiency. People are going to need to be trained and retrained, and that has to happen. So we are committed to working with the town on these issues to address the neighbors' concerns. I do think we're on the right path with our enforcement strategy. I feel positive in dealing with the company. A lot of times in odor cases, the first battle we have to fight with these people is that their company doesn't stink, their facility has never generated odors, and we have to get over that hurdle and identify, yes, this is when there was an odor and this is where it was. And then sometimes people are having to be dragged kicking and screaming into taking corrective action, and the company has been trying to identify some expensive solutions to this and has told us that they're committing to doing this. And that's a really positive thing. So from that standpoint, it is not as difficult a case as some of the others that we've had, but that's not dealing with the technical issues. It's so important for us to be able to say it's not just protecting the environment, it's public health and the environment. And if you can't enjoy your yard, if you have to have your windows closed, that's not acceptable. It's just
welcome to my world.
I understand.
Welcome to my world.
I understand. And what, Mr. Oswald?
Yes, it is.
It's nice to meet you. So one of the things that we've talked with Bridget about briefly was when people make complaints, and this is, if things don't go well through this consent order, we do have other options, but when we get complaints, it's really helpful if you can describe what it is and the effect on your property. I had to close my windows. The smell followed me into the car. It was a rotten egg smell, an acrid smell, a burning rubber smell, the things that are descriptive, because then if we had to go forward in some sort of unilateral action, it's our burden of proof, and we need evidence that is not just, I smelled it today. I appreciate that kind of comment, I smelled it again today, but for just given our experiences in other big odor cases, the things that have been helpful to us when we found in court have been things that have been very descriptive. So that kind of information, either if we do have this third-party protocol put into place or coming back directly to the department, coming through the Board of Health, if I could ask that people just try to keep in mind giving us the best information that we have in terms of time, what was the smell, how did that affect your property? Because those are the things that we have to prove and that we will prove. I feel like we have sufficient evidence going forward right now.
Have you experienced the smell firsthand when it's at its worst?
Have I? No, I haven't.
Okay. I don't think you can possibly grasp how horrible of a smell it is when it is bad. And it's been bad, was it Columbus Day weekend? Friday evening until Sunday?
Yep.
And it stretched not only from Nasoya, by Saturday night you could smell it at Shaw's in Groton. And that is over a mile away. And it continued to go down that trek. We've had it last year where it went the other way, where it was heading right over Spectacle Pond into Littleton. You remember we had all the complaints and inquiries from the Littleton Board of Selectmen. And it's not just a 20-minute thing, which is tolerable. It is days usually, if not several hours, but I would say typically a day or two. And the company says they have the hotline, and they're not responsive to the neighbors. I think you guys, I understand what you're saying, but we are so far beyond corrective action and administrative and consent decrees with this company. I mean, this has been going on for 10 years and really ramped up 2 or 3 years ago when our Board of Health brought them in here when it got just intolerable again. And they did make corrections, and it actually was quite good for about a year. What they tend to shy away from is they did bring on another product line with a very large pieces of equipment, I guess, last year or so. They don't seem to mention that when they say they can't figure out the smell. So I'm a little suspicious of exactly what they're telling us and what's going on, because they were able to figure it out for a year. Now suddenly, a year later, twice a week, I'm sure all of Mulberry Hill could not. And I live in the neighborhood. I live past usually where the smell is, so I have to drive through it. You couldn't walk your dog on Columbus Day weekend. If you remember, Columbus Day weekend was a beautiful weekend. These people were literally stuck in their house. So corrective actions, consent decrees, I don't know what it's going to take for this company to understand, but I think if there's a way to fine them retroactively, there has to be a way to get the point across. What's even more frustrating is the CEO is not here tonight. He can't seem to bother to come visit us, even though he was invited 2 weeks ago and on every other occasion. And he sends these gentlemen, who I have a lot of respect for because they're here getting yelled at, and they take it and they're respectful. But this has to go beyond just, we're going to do this and let's hope for November 23rd, because I believe that's the week of Thanksgiving. So I don't think Mr. Osmer and everybody else in the audience wants to hear that. Okay, I might be able to go play catch outside with my son tonight, but I might have to hunker down in the house and close all the windows.
Yeah, just to be clear, the 23rd is when they're going to get us this new proposal. I'm not saying
So
that.
why not close them down until the 23rd?
So what?
I mean, seriously, I hate to be rude about this.
No,
If I'm gonna
Done.
speak up.
I get it. Just we'll give you your
Okay.
time.
I understand. I definitely can appreciate the frustration.
I'm not
So-
sure you can.
I can. I mean, I live. It's not odor. I have a noise issue at my
Okay.
own house, so I can appreciate it. But we can issue an order, and we've told the company this. We can issue an order to shut them down. The problem is for you, it's not going to matter, because it can be appealed, and their attorney has told us that he would appeal. And while the appeal is pending, they get to operate. So I think that rather than take this action that really would not advance the ball except for people having to pay lawyers, it makes a lot more sense to get this scheduled, get the corrective action, put it into a consent order with deadlines, and I'm telling you tonight, I am committed to enforcing whatever deadlines we get, and there could be a penalty as part of that. I mean, honestly, they're spending a lot more money on their corrective actions than any penalty we would be able to assess, but we can certainly do our administrative penalty. And
They had $30
have
million
them-
in sales last year. I really could care less about the $300,000 they spent after they've been called out because
Right.
they've
I'm just
ruined
trying
people's
to,
lives.
our penalty is not going to be anywhere.
No, I
We have
understand that.
We have limited penalty
Of course,
authority, so that-
and we have options as well that
Right.
apparently we may have to take.
And that's fine, and if the town is in a position to take its own action and wants to confer with us, that's fine. I mean, I certainly would not want to step out in front of something that the town was trying to do. But right now, our path would be enforceable deadlines in a consent order and a very aggressive schedule for putting in what we're going to find out on the 23rd. Like I said, I think I mentioned, we're having these informal, we're not waiting until the 23rd to get whatever they have. we're gonna have conversations back and forth between the technical people so that by the time we get a proposal on the 23rd, it's something that we like, we agree with. And then we can have the milestones, the deliverables associated with that. They'll have to, most likely, based on what we were talking about on Friday, there'll have to be a new air permit. So we'll have to work out separate permitting timelines, but everything will be able to go forward in terms of getting the corrective measures taken as quickly as possible, regardless if there has to be a permit. A consent order would legally let them operate without a permit as long as they were complying with what we told them to do in that document. So I just want to make sure that people don't look at it and say, oh, the state has to issue a permit, it's going to take forever. We're taking that piece out of the equation. That's easy for us to do.
I understand and I respect that, but we're 3 years behind. This didn't crop up in June. This happened in 2003, 4, 5, whatever is when it really was bad and was not addressed appropriately until 2015, maybe. And they have yet to answer the question on why it was so good when they were Vitasoy for the year and a half. Because I would say that, and let me ask the gentleman that are from the neighborhood, it was really good for about a year, wasn't it? I mean, it was that we thought the problem was solved. And then last year, and then, come to find out, they did get another piece of equipment which increased their product line. They don't add that to their thing, and as I said, I don't think they have a clue on what's going to fix this. I think they're trying. Are we going to sit here in a year and say, good job, but it still smells? Because you know what, they're still going to make $30 million next year in sales, regardless of what Westford Road smells like. So they can say all they want, but it doesn't impact them to the degree that it impacts everybody that lives in that neighborhood. And so I would like to see if the DEP should be able to find them. They should be able to find them for every reported, documented incident that has happened. I don't know if you can do it retroactively.
So there are 12 that have been verified. Our penalty authority only extends back 2 years.
Okay.
So we have gone back, we have counted the ones that have been verified by the Board of Health, and there are 12.
There's only been 12? No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
There's been,
12 days, not individual.
No, there's been more than 12 days.
All right,
More
well,
documented than that.
Verified, you're saying verified.
Right, by the Board of Health. Or it wasn't just the Board of Health, it was,
Mr. Pompion and other associates
Okay.
from the same association that Bridget belongs to.
Okay.
right.
So we need basically two witnesses.
Okay.
Two witnesses.
You
So
would-
the complainant.
you would need to verify.
Would
So
you,
so the complainant, and
uh-huh.
then we need to verify.
We need to verify.
So,
Bring it to court.
Bridget, would you, not to put you on the spot, would you disagree, and would you say that it's been a lot more than 12? And
So, I talked to Michelle today,
Mhm.
and a lot of it goes back to, we get emails, anonymous phone calls that go into different departments. The one record that I do have the best, obviously, documentation of is Don Osmer's, which I have all of, so I have all of those. It's a matter of going back and logging those in, and just a lot of times it's late at night, so I will send something late at night to Michelle, but I'm not at my office. So I have to go back through all of the emails and find out exactly how many were documented.
Okay.
If they aren't documented by me, there are other members
Yeah,
of
it
my
doesn't have
staff
to be you.
that have gone out as well.
Right.
So,
So get us that information.
yep, so I'm working on that now.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just.
That's good, because if it's different from what we were able to glean from our files, then
Right, I talked to
and
Michelle
Giles
today.
were excellent.
And it goes, do you want 2 years?
2 years.
2 years.
That's all our authority goes back.
Is there a
We-
ballpark you could estimate to help us during this moment? I think there's hundreds.
Verified, completed down. I have to go back through, like I said, the most consistent complaint is Don Osmer, and I tried to print out all of his emails here, but again, it's a matter of sorting through, because some of them are forwarded on to you guys and
It's been 12
copied,
in
so
this month.
every one of his emails I have saved. It's just a matter of,
Yeah.
and then verifying
Right.
what went off to Michelle.
Right. So with that third-party protocol, it's a lot easier. You
Right.
don't have to do that. I get reports, it's a one-page summary, and it has all the information, it has the time of the complaint, the time of the response, the location, the wind speed direction.
Right.
It's all on one page, and then I can sit there and I can count. I could do with another party, and I said on 8 days in April and May, your consultant verified odors.
Mary Jude, I'm sorry to interrupt. Did you say they have to consent to this, Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Why?
Because it's a consent order.
So they have to give permission for the third party
They
to,
have to pay the third party. You're not gonna pay for it. Your
No.
neighbors aren't gonna pay for it. The company has to pay for that company to respond. And like I said, we're not gonna dictate this.
so why would they do that?
Because we've asked them to.
Well, we've asked them to stop making our neighborhood
Well, John spoke with
intolerable,
Ross
and
on-
they've done nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CEO is responsive to this request.
I can see he's here this evening to explain it as he has.
Well, I think you can, I mean, you can trust John. He had a
And I believe you,
conversation.
John. I'm not trying to be rude to you. I just think, and you've seen the emails, and I know you've been kind of brought into it recently,
Mhm.
because I know Dawn had been emailing Michelle, I believe. And last fall alone, it was probably 30 straight days that I was shooting a message to Robert as at 7 o'clock at night driving down Nemco Way that the smell was there. So I guess.
You can take the company out of the equation, because, and again, unfortunately, we have these kind of cases, and there's always an issue with, is the company the right one to respond? Are you getting the best response, even if people are well-intentioned? And I'm not convinced that it is. I really like this third-party, independent, technical person.
I agree with you.
So that's something that, we went back and forth about it a little bit on Friday, about whether it was something that would be worth pursuing, and the more we spoke about it, actually spoke with Representative Benson about it, to me, it's a good idea.
I agree.
If the temperature here in the room it's not worth the time and the money, I respect if that's what people think. If
No,
you
I
choose
think my
not to do
frustration
that-
is that it's up to them. Because I think the residents would like that someone would be there in 10 minutes. Because it is not fair. I've sent messages to Bridget at 10 o'clock at night just saying, let me know. And she said, well, I'm going to take a ride. And it's like, please don't take a ride down. Trust me, it smells. You know, it just
This
for
person-
your
This
records.
person is getting paid to get at 10 o'clock at night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are they receptive to this company?
Yes.
They will do it?
We don't have a consent order, but my expectation is we'll be able to get this. I don't say anything until it's signed, but
Right.
my expectations we'll be able to get this.
Is there a timeline on it?
Well, we're going to try to get a lot of this in a consent order within, prior to November 20. We'd like to make November 23rd the first deliverable under the consent order. You got to get us the proposal. Then there's a timeline that follows.
And if they don't, do they get fined?
You want to explain?
Well,
that?
the consent orders, I mean, you've probably seen them, I have
Yeah.
the old ones. So it'll be a recitation of the violations. Obviously, we have to go on record and say, you did this, you did this, you did this. We have verified complaints on 12, 15, 20, whatever the number of days is. And you have to do these things. And it will be to get us this proposal for improvements to air quality, air pollution control equipment, and whatever else the other things that will fall into place leading up to getting a new permit for this new equipment. In the meantime, they can't create odors, and they will, I assume, agree, based on your conversation yesterday, they're going to agree to this third-party odor protocol, which they would submit for our approval. I think it would be helpful to have the Board of Health input once we get that, because we're not here on the ground. It would be better for somebody local to be able to identify different things, different tweaks, and then that will be part of what they have to do, enforceable by us.
So what's the ramifications if they miss those timelines?
So if they sign the consent order
Yeah.
and they miss the deadlines, there'll be stipulated penalties of $1,000 a day again. So the way our enforcement authority works is we can, it's complicated, but we can have an enforcement action for one day of a violation at a time. We can't have this sort of, it started here and it ended there, and therefore we get all the 90 days in the middle. It doesn't work that way for us. Our authority is limited.
Okay.
They sign a document that says we can get $1,000 a day, then we're just going to keep sending them letters, and they're going to keep sending us checks. Again,
$30 million
Right.
company.
well, but, you know,
$1,000
that's-
a day is like dropping a quarter in the
Right,
ground.
so this is what I'm saying. It's more important for the end result, for the protection of the neighborhood, to get the corrective action done. Is it a stick? Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to be sending us a check. We don't get to keep the money. It goes into the general fund. I mean, it's not going toward environmental protection
Right.
in any way. But yes, I mean, in response to your question, that's how that would work. If we got a total, we're walking away from this, or our engineer is really convinced that there's a certain technology and the company is not willing to invest in the technology, then it would not be a consent order. It would be something different. Or if it had been a consent order and they decided to stop complying with it, we have other different options. But again, it escalates it to the kind of situation that is less productive here in Ayer and more focused on appeals and lawyers and potentially judges and injunctions, and which we will do it. We've gone to the Attorney General's office to get civil injunctions against people. We have taken criminal cases all the way through to conviction on an odor case in Worcester Superior Court. So
So you know how to do it, and you have no
we've
problem
done
doing it.
We've done it.
Right.
And it's a lot of work. But the people that we've had to approach that way are bad actors. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. There are people who have not agreed. They don't smell. No, not us. And we know it. You know, and I've been to those facilities, and I know it smells. They don't fight us about that, but I can't afford it. It's not going to work. It's never been done in this industry before. Or people who just say, you can't regulate me. This is my property. This is my business. You can't regulate me. To which I say, well, let's just see about that.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question about Mass General Law?
It's probably the same one I was going to ask, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, certainly, Mass General Law, Title 16, Chapter 111, Section 31C. I think you're probably familiar with it because it applies directly to the DEP and
Well, I read that.
atmospheric pollution. So could you just explain to me the section that stipulates fines?
I'd be happy to
and how
read it for
those are-
everybody if you'd like me to.
Because the fines that you're referring to, and this is how I spend my Saturdays
Yes.
these days, it's really exciting that I have to continue to look up Mass General Law. But
So,
could you-
if I could just type, Chapter 131, Section
Sure.
31C gives the authority to boards of health to enact regulations that deal with air pollution. And they can approach DEP to have input on that and to help boards, Board of Health or select board ordinances, bylaws, whatever. You can ask for our input. But all that section does is allow towns to have regulations. That's not really a helpful section to you. You want to look at Chapter 21A, Section 16,
Okay.
which is the administrative authority of the department to issue penalties. That's not our penalty statute.
Okay.
That's something that deals with Board of Health regulations.
Okay.
And by the same token, and you know because this was in the Board of Health order letter, is under the air pollution regulations at 310 Code of Mass Regulations 7.52, boards of health are empowered to enforce our air pollution regulations just like we are. So the Board of Health, the town, can step into our air pollution regulations and enforce them just the same way. And that's been a very helpful, powerful tool for some towns to use. They can cite 701, creating a condition air pollution, 70, was it 6 or 9, was odor?
Yeah, dust over noise.
Dust, odor, noise, any of those nuisance conditions. Those state regulations are enforceable in towns. And it doesn't require something under Chapter 111, Section 31C to implement that. It's in
And
the
can they go
regulation.
back the 2-year time frame to do that?
Our penalty statute is 2 years. I don't know
Okay.
you'd have to talk to town council about what your penalty authority might be under that. Our penalty statute lives entirely separately from our air, water, waste. It's not a substantive thing, it's a procedural statute that lives totally somewhere else. And I have absolutely no idea how the town's authority would work on that. So the 31C is not,
Okay.
that's not gonna help you as much as our authority, which is Chapter 21A, Section 16.
All right.
Well, it does say we have the ability, once it's instituted, to fine them not less than $1,000 up to $5,000 per subsequent offense.
I I don't
So,
know. I mean, that
yeah,
would be-
so I mean, it
that-
seems,
your town
and it says
council-
that it says the department shall be advised by the board or legal authority and guided by the DEP, and the governing body, whether it be the Board of Health or the Board of Selectmen, have the right to fine them $1,000 to $5,000 a day after we hold a public hearing. I mean, I have it all right here.
And that, like I said, if this is the way the town chooses to go forward, we'll be a partner with you in that. I don't want to muddy the waters if we're going forward at the same time you are. I think that we'd have to discuss that. I can tell you just from my own frame of reference, it's very similar to the Wetlands Act, where the local conservation commission has local enforcement authority, but the state has enforcement authority as well. And we try to coordinate that so that it's done. Usually people want us to do it because we have bigger penalty authority.
Okay.
So, but we can definitely coordinate if the town would like to be taking a lead role in enforcement. That's fine too, but we're not gonna go away even if you guys.
Well,
I
I
just
mean,
wanna be clear,
with
we
all due
wanna be
respect, you kind of
part-
did go away for a long time.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I think
No,
that.
I think you did, because
All right, we can just agree to disagree.
we've been dealing with this for years now. I mean, and I appreciate you being here tonight, but like what you're saying is something that may have happened a month ago or 2 months ago. I mean, we're going back years now. You're finally here. I understand your point of following the process, but I mean, I cannot explain to you how, I can't even imagine how it would be if I could not go out. And I've experienced it when the wind blows, sometimes our way. I don't understand we're gonna give them another month, 2, 3, 4. You have the ability to fine them retroactive 2 years. Can we do that at least?
We can. It affects whether it would be a consent agreement or whether it would have to be unilateral. It's something that, as we're talking about this draft consent order, we will be discussing with the company. I can't predict whether they're going to agree to pay a penalty. Compared to the amount of money that they're spending on corrective action, I don't know why they wouldn't pay the realm of penalty that we can get, which again, it's bigger than your authority, but it's not huge. I do want to disagree that we haven't been here. We may not have physically been in this room, but we have issued 3 different permits to correct things that have changed with the equipment to make sure the permit is regulating the thing that's in the facility at the time. We've issued 2 consent orders and 2 stipulated penalty demands, and that's a pretty significant commitment by the department to be following through with enforcement. And the fact that what they've chosen to do hasn't worked is something the department can't control, except to say, we're going to commit at this point in time to having our own review to make sure that it's going down the right path so that we don't permit something and we're back here in a year. And I do think it's important to note, you talk about going back to 2006, it's all true, but this company has been here since March or the spring of 2016. And that's who we're dealing with now, and I understand.
That's when it started up all again, though, too.
I get that, and I appreciate, and we've asked the question about what changes have been made to the process, and we've been given explanations about the process that, I'm not the person to explain it, but in order for us to pass judgment on what it is that they're doing, we have to understand it. So we have been out at the facility, we will be back out at the facility trying to get a handle on it so that we can truth check. But I shouldn't say truth check. I don't think anything is being withheld. It's just that people can have different technical opinions based on experience. We have a very experienced engineer in our program that was at the meeting on Friday and has already been thinking things through, that he wants to go back and walk around and suggest things. We can't make business decisions for them. We can't say, we think this will work better. We can make suggestions, they can draw on our experience, we're helpful in that way. But at the end of the day, there are business decisions that need to be made.
Did you approve the 3rd piece of equipment that came online when Nisoya purchased?
The production line?
Yes. Was
No,
that
so we
anything
don't-
under your
No.
jurisdiction?
No, we would permit the air pollution control equipment.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Would there
but-
be air pollution control equipment with that?
So it goes back to this thing about capturing all of the emissions and then the destruction. So if they are designing something new that is all properly captured and vented to one of the scrubbers or whatever other equipment is going to reduce the emissions, you can do that. You just have to capture all of it. I don't know. I mean, out of context, I don't know what they did. I do know that they've made improvements about capture. I think one of the things that Brian is going to be talking to people about, Brian, our regional engineer, is that one of the things, and it sounds like small potatoes, but I don't think it is, because I think it's the kind of thing that is going to waft up into the neighborhood, is the smell of the trucks that come to collect the wastewater. And they come back from taking one load, and they come back and they already smell. So we got a description of
Is that at nighttime, may I ask?
Is it in the night?
Do you truck at night typically?
It could happen at night, yes.
So
Well, there goes
some
of it.
What was described to us was an improvement that was made to capture the odors from the truck, and there's a hose that attaches. So we were there on Friday, and Brian walked around the building, and it happened to be there's a truck there, and the hose wasn't attached. So, this again you can have the SOPs, you can have all of the instructions in the world. If people aren't doing it right, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, they have to capture everything to get it to the air pollution control equipment, but they have to do the thing that they're saying that they're doing.
Alan,
So,
I'm sorry.
last year, when we
Oh,
started,
Alan, can you state your name for the record?
Alan Peterson, former Mulberry Circle. From the previous owners, they had said, if it happens again, come tell us. I went to the factory, knocked on the door, and was brought around to the back side of the factory. I know it's difficult to, when I say this, it won't make sense, but I have seen the smell. I watched a gentleman, his name was Bruce. He stood there with a 2-inch line, and it was a white liquid coming out, and I watched him just pouring it down into the drain. He said the system was overloaded, and we've heard this happens in the past, and he apologized, and he was standing there with his hose with, I'm not going to say thousands of gallons, but it was a ton of water as I stood there having this conversation. And he just apologized. Like, I can tell you, I've seen where the smell comes from. I know it's air pollution, but it's coming from this liquid. And I watched this man just sitting there with a hose, just pouring it into the drain out back, saying, I'm sorry, the system got overloaded.
So this was pre-Nasoya, this was Vitasoy.
This would have been Vitasoy.
So let me just tell you this, if you ever see that happen again, we will shut it.
Okay, okay.
That's.
Thank you. I know where the drain is. I watched it happen.
I feel confident, having met with the people that we met with on Friday, that this company is not doing that. That's like 1970s behavior. But don't trespass.
This was after we met with them too, after the Board of Health.
We met, after they came in. I mean, Bruce,
Yes.
he gave me his cell phone number as he stood there saying, I'm sorry, call my cell phone personally if it happens. I will try to fix it.
You call our HIC hotline, our 888 number. What's our
I'll be honest with you, ma'am, I did when this was going on. I have called, I have sent emails.
The snow hotline?
I could figure out what it was online. I've tried calling numerous government agencies because I figured that wasn't okay.
That's not okay.
And to be honest with you, it all just went like my emails that I sent disappeared to no one. Like I never heard back. Not like I swear I saw him doing it. It was one of those like, huh.
Well, I mean, if the emails went to DEP, I apologize
Okay.
that somebody didn't follow up on that. I find it hard to believe. And anybody who got a call about something being discharged into a drain outside is.
It was a long time ago. I will try to see if I can find it.
No, that's
Like,
okay.
hidden
I'm just.
in the Gmail
No, I
server
remember
somewhere.
the picture you sent, so
I mean,
I think I still have it too.
You.
Do you seem to? I mean, do you understand where this isn't last week? These people. I mean, for what you're saying, I get. I know there's a process, but I guess the process should have been started a year ago when it started back, or 6 months ago. The gentlemen have come. I mean, we have taken 6 meetings now, about so over 6 months. They're having them come. and agendaing this and spending a good portion of the meeting. And believe it or not, a small town, we do have other things that are important that we like to address when we do meet. But, and we keep hearing the same story over and over again. And they have not sent management. They sent, and their air quality guys and whoever, and I appreciate it because they come and they're respectful and they tell us, and they're employees and they're doing their best. But there has to be something that we can do, you can do immediately to at least get their attention. I know they're going to say they have their attention, they're here, but can we revoke their wastewater permit? Would that do anything, Robert?
Mr. Chairman, pardon my voice. I don't know the answer to that question. If we could revoke their wastewater, we would have a burden of proof to demonstrate a violation of the wastewater permit.
Would it be easy to show that the smell has increased since we increased their wastewater permit? Because I think there's a correlation.
I know that Superintendent Wetzel isn't here, but it appears that, in his opinion, it is not coming from the wastewater part of it. Now that, I don't want to speak for the superintendent, but I know significant progress was made on the wastewater end of things. But, I mean, the town can always revoke a wastewater permit if there's a substantive.
I guess my point was if it would cause them to have to shut down or
we would
an
have
option.
we would have to clearly demonstrate, obviously, a violation in the terms of the permit, and of course the company would obviously contest that. But that would be the procedure.
And the trucking offsite is just, they could conceivably put all their waste into our system. We have the capacity. It's a cost savings method for them, correct?
Again, conceptually, there is the capacity. I would defer to the superintendent on the specifics, and I know that there's a specific capacity with their existing permit.
So will the DEP, starting tomorrow, look back and try to implement any fines for the 12 violations, which
So we already have, and we already counted up ours. I'll wait and get Bridget's information though, because that sounds like it may be better information. But that's what we'll be doing, is drafting an administrative consent order to incorporate.
Third party too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless
No, it
you
makes
guys,
sense.
unless the town feels that it's not worth asking for it. But John did make the pitch yesterday, and
It's needed.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I'm just surprised they have to agree to it, but
well, it's a consent order.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's,
It's part of the deal.
Right.
And they'll, we'll have to get agreement on deadlines. We're going to want things, and we're going to want them fast.
so
That
when,
will all be buttoned up. And I have to be honest, I mean, I definitely sense high level of cooperation.
I don't think that has been, I don't think we've ever questioned that at all. I don't think they've been trying to hide anything. I mean, I think they've come every time. They haven't had to come. I know our guys have been down there touring the plant. They don't know what the hell they're doing in order to make the smell go away. And I can't sit here as a member of the Board of Selectmen in 3 months and tell, hey, guess what, spring's coming, but it doesn't matter because you can't go outside.
Right.
And I have a feeling that's where we're heading.
Right.
So it shouldn't be, because and I'm not going to speak for Gary, but I think we think alike. This board will step in, and I mean, we don't want to spend taxpayers' money to go after a company like this, but we have. And I was hoping you were going to come here tonight and say, we're dropping the hammer on this. This is enough is enough. And I'm hearing that, sorry, deal with it until
Yeah.
when.
I do
Sir,
not
I'm
want to
sorry.
communicate, sorry, deal with it. I'm telling you.
I understand. I'm trying to give you.
But also what makes sense to fix it. I mean, there's one thing to come in and say, yes, sort of scorched earth policy, we'll issue a unilateral order, we'll issue a unilateral penalty, we'll see you in court. Does that get you to the end of the day with getting the thing fixed faster? It does not. So the thing that we want to do is motivate the company. I think they're already starting off motivated. I think this is an embarrassment to a company of this size that's in the business of making safe food for people to eat. To have this kind of blemish is not a good thing.
Well, maybe that's the route we have to pursue.
So, I mean,
Public media attention to this.
I think that this is important for them to fix. I agree with you that they don't understand it. They have to get there quickly, and I do think that they've made an effort with the experts that they've brought in. This was a good meeting we had on Friday, and I don't know how Robert felt about it.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you identify?
Yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Danilo Sen, and I'm here from Senator Eldridge's office. I wanted to give my contact to the resident of Ayer. I handle constituent cases for the senator, so having those complaints to our office, I think would be helpful. If we could work with partnership with DEP on these issues. That's great.
Thank you. John?
Mr. Chair, through you to the town administrator, did Ms. Ayer inherit any tips from Vitasoy that we can pull?
Question?
Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Kilcommon's question, no, there are no existing tax agreements with Nasoya, TIFs, or special tax agreements.
Can we proceed with pulling their business license from the town of Ayer? I know it's court, they're gonna fight it, but.
Mr. And I apologize to everybody for my laryngitis. The business certificate that's issued by the town clerk, rescinding that would have no legal implication on the plant's ability to operate. As far as the local action that was somewhat illustrated by Ms. Pigsley earlier would be the direction of a local order, which we can discuss. I mean, again, that certificate is more of a formality.
Okay.
Bottom line is we can just take account of what they're doing, put a consent order in, move as fast as we can on it, make sure the problem's fixed. I mean, I can't imagine, I don't live anywhere near there. I can't imagine, putting your house up for sale and someone coming up and smelling it.
No, it's terrible.
I mean, you'd never be able to sell a
It's
house.
unacceptable.
So it's, and I'm sure you've been in the business for long enough to know how it affects people.
It's terrible. It wears on you, and it gets inside your head, and people get sensitized to it, so that you or I wouldn't smell it, but the second you get a whiff of it,
Yeah.
it all comes
Brings
back,
back
and
and-
it's as bad as it's ever been,
Right.
and it's not psychological.
And
it really is.
The funny part about it
that
is, I've gone through the plant on a horrible, and you don't smell it at the plant sometimes.
Right.
And you drive back over to Westford Road in Nimco at that corner, and it is unbearable.
Right.
So, obviously, I mean, I think it's from the stack pipe, whatever they're emitting through the roof, but there are no means for the board. I mean, we have certainly shut down businesses in town that were not adhering to other laws, nuisance. It's certainly classified in here as a atmospheric pollution nuisance. So do we have that authority? I don't understand why, because they're a big corporation, they wouldn't be able to have to follow the same laws as a small company that we have shut down for various reasons. And I'm sorry to put you under the edge.
Mr. Chairman, as you're aware, per the board, I did consult with town council specifically on what we'll call a local option, on what the town of Ayer could do. And as you're aware, and it was mentioned tonight, that the town, through the Board of Health, or through a joint meeting of the Board of Health and the Board of Selectmen, much like on the McNiff matter, is within its right to convene a public hearing to determine if a nuisance does exist. That would involve notification of all of the parties, a joint meeting, the deliberation to determine a nuisance, and then if, just talking through it, if the joint meeting determined that a nuisance existed, would issue an order for remediation and a corrective action. And as the board is aware, that order, the timeline can be anywhere from 24 hours or several days, depending on the circumstance. If the company did not come in compliance with the order, the local order, then the town would take that order to the court and ask the court to enforce that order, as we have in other cases. Couple things, as I know the board is aware, it then becomes the burden of the town to demonstrate and prove substantially to the judge or to the court that the nuisance exists, and to enforce that order. As I think the board can appreciate, I'm willing to, and this is my opinion, and I want to emphasize my opinion, that the company will probably contest and put up a defense to that, and we would end up in the court to enforce that local order. As I understand it from town council, as Mary illustrated from the DEP end, while that proceeding is underway, the plant would not be allowed to continue to operate. So yes, we can proceed a local option. The challenge is, again, what is the end result? And I think you can appreciate, Mr. Chairman, on a local level, the town has a good success rate in enforcing various nuisances. This one is unique in that it's an odor nuisance, and the burden of substantively demonstrating and verifying, and I, by no means, I do sit with the neighbors are beyond frustrated. I've smelled it more than I would like to smell, not as much as them. And nobody's saying it doesn't exist, but as we have to understand, you have to operate within the courts and within the law, and the resources on the town to do that will be considerable. But ultimately, that is a decision and a right of the Board of Selectmen on how to proceed. So in sum, the local end would be to have a nuisance hearing to make a determination, and if a nuisance exists, issue a local order. The company would either comply. If they didn't comply, then we'd have to enforce the order through the courts.
I have no issues pursuing the public hearing, at least getting our ducks in a row with this. I have no desire to spend any tax dollars. I have no desire to be sitting here at 8:10 at night talking about this once again when we get so many other good things going on and to get to. But
Agree.
what would be the motions? It says that it would have to come under the support or direction of the Department of Environmental Protection. I mean, I'm assuming you would, somewhere in here, I'm sorry, but it said under the guidance, I'm assuming.
I think, I didn't bring it with me, I think that was to adopt regulations to...
Okay, rules and regulations published in the town, posting. So this wouldn't affect your actions whatsoever. This would just give us a mechanism if they don't have it fixed.
That's you, not us.
Okay.
But then, as I said, you also have our regulation, 310 CMR 752,
To be enforced locally.
to enforce
Yeah.
state regulations locally through the Board of Health,
Right.
specifically the Board of Health.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, might I suggest perhaps that the board exercise its executive privilege under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, Exemption 3, at the appropriate time, go into executive session with the town's council to further discuss this potential action. That doesn't, I'm in no way trying to impede on the board, but I think it would be prudent that in the proper executive forum with council, we further discuss this option before implementing.
That's fine. Can you set that up as soon as possible?
Yeah. With Board of Health?
Board of Health as well.
Mhm.
Joint meeting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, do you have anything else to add beyond?
I don't. Obviously, we will keep you informed, we will keep the delegation informed as we go forward. I'm going to ask John to speak with the CEO again and get the third-party order response protocol up and running even before we have a consent order signed. I'm getting the sense that this is a positive development that people would want to have in place, so they don't have to wait for the consent order to be signed to get that up and running. I would like John to do that tomorrow.
You have no power to shut the plant down during an episode like Columbus Day weekend, right?
As I explained, we can issue an order, but it's appealable.
Okay.
You need to go to court. We would need to get an injunction.
Well, court costs them money. I mean,
We can't go to court. We have to go to the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
Only the Attorney General can represent the Commonwealth in court.
Okay.
So we would have to go to the Attorney General's office. So we can issue an order, but the
I understand.
the order's
Yeah,
appealable. So
understood.
that's, I'm just telling you how.
We have the same. we have the
Where
same
my-
no,
problem.
we're on the same
hands are
page.
tied, but
We
There's a
do,
process.
we do what we can within the bounds of those restrictions, and we push where we can.
And we're going to pursue retroactively, just a second, Jen, fines
Yep.
back 2 years
Yep.
in all documented cases. So Bridget, I'm sure you can probably do some digging
Yep.
to see, because I think there was probably 12 in the last 2 months.
Yeah, I think it's important we get that third party in there too.
I agree.
That's
I agree.
that's
Yeah.
so much easier.
Right.
Representative Benson, I'm sorry, you had your hand up?
No, not a problem. I just threw you
Mhm.
to the director. I was just curious about the May 2017 action or order. Did I hear that correctly?
It was from the town.
Oh, from the town.
It was the Board of Health.
Okay. And then I will ask the town. Were there any penalties assessed through that order for non-compliance, or clearly that didn't solve the problem, right?
Correct. That was before, that was the board, was that the Neshoba Board of Health, or was that our local?
It was, Mr. Chairman, it was the local board, and it goes back to something I'll be discussing with the Board of Health when you talked about local fining in that statute.
Mhm.
The Board of Health has to adopt rules and regulations, including fining. So that piece is something I think we can work on, but it was issued in May and didn't comply.
They didn't comply? Or did I misunderstand you?
I defer to the Board of Health. I don't believe they're in compliance with your order from
No.
May.
So we have to, through the board now, adopt regulations to start finding, but we don't have that mechanism in place, that's my understanding.
How did we get that mechanism in place yesterday?
And tomorrow we can, the board will have to put it on its agenda, on the agenda, but, I mean, again, I would think that we would discuss that a little bit with town council.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a joint meeting, we can incorporate, I think, all of that
Mhm.
into it.
Just to, not to belabor this, do any of the residents have, and then I would ask Ms. Nasoya, sorry, I get confused, if they have anything to add. Anybody else have? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Mary, forgive me if you've already answered this, but currently, as we're here, is Nasoya has a permit from the DEP? And are they in compliance with that existing permit?
We are looking into that. The
Okay.
short answer is no, in that the air permit does say you cannot create a condition of air pollution. It's
Okay.
sort of a catch-all that's in the permit It's just repetitive of the regulation. So yes, but are they violating the emissions standards, the limitations in their permit? We're trying to do the math to figure that
Okay.
out.
Based on the information we gathered last week. So our building inspector is present. If someone violates their permit, building permit, whatever permit, he either usually warns them or pulls the permit until the action is corrected. Do you have, or is that the Attorney General that has to do that as well?
No, we can revoke a permit, but again, it's appealable. So we can revoke the permit, but while the appeal is pending of that administrative action, they can continue to operate under the permit. And what I was describing in terms of the consent order is they're going to need a new permit for the new equipment in order to have that, not have to wait.
I thought that was waived. I thought you waived something for new.
There may be something different coming.
Oh, okay.
So, if we say you can't install the thing that's going to fix the problem because DEP has to issue a permit and it takes 6 months to get a DEP permit, that's not the right answer.
I understand.
So the consent order would say, yes, you can put in the third scrubber or thermal oxidizer or whatever is the thing that's going to fix it. And you can do that as long as you follow all these things in the consent order, and that will substitute for the permit until they get the new permit. So the old permit will go away because there's new equipment, and we will write in, there'll be a section of the consent order that looks exactly like a permit, because it will be functioning until we issue a new permit, because we're not going to be the roadblock for that. And that's how we get around that, is you don't have to wait to get the permit, we'll put it in the consent order with all the restrictions in it.
And they just keep making money. Don, and then I'd like to ask the Masoya people.
I'd just like to make one final comment as a resident there, and I am the most outspoken about this issue because it affects us on a daily basis. The reality is I came to the meeting tonight and I'm really disappointed. I'm seriously disappointed. I thought we were going to have real action tonight. I thought the DEP would come here. I've worked my butt off every time this happens to email so many people to let them know what's happening, only to hear it needs to be verified by more than one person. We're going to put more in place to monitor this. Hope is not a strategy, folks. That's it. I'm done. You've worn me down. I'm done. You won. I hope you're happy. You ruined the neighborhood and nobody cares except for the people who sit there every day. We can't sell our houses because it smells. And this company makes more money. I'm tired of this. What I hear is, we're going to put a consent order in place. Great. What does that do? Nothing. You've done it numerous times. Nothing happens. They continue to make money. They're going to fight it in court. We lose. The residents lose. Not them. It's BS.
You're 100%
Okay, I'm
correct.
done. Why would I reach out and tell people what's going on? It does nothing. It doesn't change them. Nothing's going to change till it hurts. And you haven't heard them yet. So why are they going to change?
Again, I can't speak for the company, I can speak for DEP. We're here tonight. We have a plan to go forward. I'm sorry that you don't think it's a good plan. It's the best plan we have at this point in time. And we have had other consent orders, but not with this company. So the other two consent orders were with Vitasoy, and I was in this meeting. The CEO was on Skype for the meeting, and I do think that we're going to get a commitment.
There is no credibility from the company or the DEP or anyone at this point because nothing has made a difference for them.
Okay.
And I understand where you're coming from. It's the
Yeah,
best
and I
plan you
just,
have.
it is the best we have, and I'm hopeful that you won't judge my credibility because I have not been here before. And I'm telling you that this is what we're going to do. So I just
believe it when I see it, but I haven't seen anything that's changed this company as of yet. They continue to say that they're making changes, but they won't shut down to do something about it and fix the issue. And we as the residents suffer. we as the residents have to drive through it, have to smell it, have to close our windows, can't go outside. I even wonder what the studies show of the long-term exposure to this odor and the issues that are there. And maybe the DEP should look at that because, this is ridiculous. I really thought there would be action tonight, and I'm emotional because of that. I thought there would be clear action tonight, and there's not. It's a consent order that we've heard before. And I understand you here, it's the path you got to go forward with. I get it. I work in the corporate world as well. You have to follow policies and rules, but they don't.
It's not policies and rules. I mean, I'm constrained by the law. I mean, the state
Okay,
agency can
okay.
only
So are they
act.
supposed to be, and they don't? So
This is the best way forward that I can tell. And if the best way forward were to issue an order and have it appealed and fight it, we would do that.
it wouldn't
But
change it.
it's, exactly. So
It won't change it.
let's get to a point where we have deadlines that they've agreed to. I'm not imposing unilateral deadlines. They're telling me they're gonna give me this thing on the 23rd, it's gonna come in on the 23rd.
And I can respect the
So
process,
that's,
but they've done it before. They haven't followed.
Here's the question. I'm a layman to all this stuff. Alvin comes up and talks numbers and chemicals and stuff, and it goes way over my head. They solved the problem for a year. What changed in March of 2016 or whatever it was, or was it last winter? I'm sorry, it might have been 15, December of 15 when it started up again. I mean, there's got to be some common sense there where they can say, okay, what changed? That's the part I don't understand.
right, and that, I can't speak to it.
Okay. Maybe Ms. DeGata would like the local news parked in his parking lot to do a story on this. Maybe that would motivate him and his business. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I'm as disgusted as you are this evening. I'm not mad at you. The DEP, I understand, is a process. I get it. It's frustrating. I'm sure you're frustrated many occasions as well where you wish you could act immediately. It just hasn't been something that has arisen just last week. So you have to understand our frustration. And does Nasoya have anything to add to this?
Should we keep going with the presentation or?
Alvin, I mean, I 100% appreciate you coming, and I know you're working on it, but I mean, is there anything, sorry, did you say you were in management? Is there anything that you want to add that?
Yeah, one thing I want to add on here is either it's our frustration. We really want to get out from this issue. So unfortunately, our company acquired Biosoil last April, I believe. And we installed a new line this year, April. And we found that there's some continuous issue starting from before, last year also, Ayer and Ayer as well. And it's our commitment, we really apologize to the community because our company really want to work together, supporting the community. I think, gentlemen saying that we are just making money. I cannot disclose all the financials of our company, but we are in crisis now. We lost about $2 million this year. So
That's not making us feel any better right now.
Yeah, I understand. So issue is that, however, understand this is a top priority, and actually we tried to present 3 different options we already discussed with the DEP today. One option we are looking for, this new option, is actually almost about $1 million investment. Previously we were talking about 300,000, now it's becoming million. We know that it might be more viable, reliable solution we need to take. But that's our commitment because of we are trying to expand our business, working together the community. So we want to really get out from this issue as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we just came in, we found that there's an issue here. Issue is that this is not something like the easy plus and minus math. There's a lot of the biological and the chemistry involved in the specialties needed to solve these issues. Until now, we were working heavily with some previous builder who picked in the wastewater system and the scrubber system. And the initial solution we presented a few weeks ago, it was actually from the same vendor. So we got this design in and came in, And we had some question internally, okay, because we were 100% relying on the builder starting from the many years ago, and still issue is there. Every time we invest, upgrade something, we got new issues came up from it. That's why this time we are engaged with the 4 different experts, including Steve. Actually, the consultation we already paying another $100,000 already. And we want to make sure, reviewing with the different consultation firm, making sure this solution is going to really take out this issue from our operation. So our commitment is we going to do all what we can do to really fix this issue as soon as possible. That's why we also asking to DEP to review our progress because of not only for our consultation firm, DEP also has a previous experience. We want to get the DEP's perspective as well, making sure this solution is going to be work as soon as possible.
Could I offer a suggestion? There should be some outreach to the neighborhood.
Yes.
There should be something. I don't know if you offer to plant trees or pave their sidewalks, but I'm telling you at the end of this, there needs to be something for these people in that neighborhood that Nasoya should do, whether it's a scholarship or something, because I know that's off the track right now, but I mean, that's something that, you fix it, it goes away, but you've taken away years of enjoyment from their lives. And when you're driving home, and I'm sure, Dawn, you turn the corner and you probably get a little annoyed just thinking about it because you're waiting for it.
Yep.
Is it a good day? Is it a bad day? I mean, that I get.
We did get a form letter in the mail yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was one of the
Yeah,
things.
yeah. It took 3 years, but
Regurgitation of what we've already heard.
so, and I believe you, sir. I do. It's just it's a very frustrating matter. But not to speak for everybody in the town, but I'm pretty sure that if this continues, the town has no problem spending money to make sure we either shut you down or do what we need to do to protect our citizens. Because ultimately, we don't need you in town. We don't need Nasoya. Air will be just fine and it won't smell anymore. So mark my words on that I'm thoroughly had it. And I understand it's not your fault, and I always feel bad yelling at the people that are here representing the company because I have a lot of respect for you in that regard. But I hope you take that back to your CEO, and I would ask Representative Benson if you could help, and you were very, very helpful this week. If you could continue to stay on this and reach out to anybody that could be of help, or assist the DEP or the Attorney General or whatever we have. And would you be getting weekly updates from the DEP? I mean, you're not going to just wait for emails, right? Are you going to be following this?
We're going to be talking on the phone. I mean,
Okay.
It's our Giles from the compliance enforcement side, our air permitting section chief, and our regional engineer are going to be having conversations directly with the consultants and the engineering staff at the company, so that the deliverable we get, like I said, is the thing that we want. We're not going to wait 4 weeks and get something in the mail and say, well, geez, this isn't really.
That was my point, yeah.
So I think we're just going to cut to the chase. And
There's going to be a pre-meeting before November 23rd.
Right, so we're just going to talk on the phone as much as it takes, and we encourage them to do that, to call us, to share ideas. And like I said, we have someone looking at it who I think, from his experience in industry, is going to be able to give them some valuable advice. And time constraints on Friday, he couldn't stay and do a complete walkthrough that day, but he will do that. And I think that's going to be helpful. And it's not going to be.
Well, the DEP, and don't take this the wrong way, the state can take, bureaucracies can take forever to approve things. I mean, if it's something viable, I mean, are we going to expedite this? So if they have a solution, you guys look at it and say, yes, let's cut the red tape, let's move on this. I know you have in the past,
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, is that the red tape would be getting a permit. We're not going to do that. We're going to give them a permit, but we're not going to wait for the permit, because this has to happen as quickly as possible.
Okay. All right.
And also, just to your point, still this is our top priority, and our CEO tried to join today's meeting, but he got an emergency. That's why I was in California yesterday, I took the plate over yesterday night to join this meeting. So still, I had a meeting with our chairman in the IS company, and I spoke to him this morning about this issue, and he gave me the permission to spend whatever money to fix this issue. This is again the top priority from us as well, because of we really want to continue with the community to be in win-win. So that's our ultimate goal as well. So we really want to eliminate this issue.
It's not about, let me have a comment, it's not about spending the money on whatever solution. It's spending the money where we really do the job and taking care of this. Because we have spent the money before, and as you are aware, we have spent a lot of money before trying to fix the issue. That's why the engagement with these different consultants, we believe it was needed to actually target the actual problem. And that's why the involvement with DEP was actually necessary. Like Daniel said, we want them to also evaluate our proposal to make sure that it's the right thing to do. And money is not the issue. It's more having the right solution this time.
Mr. Chairman, through you, in the interest of time, it may be beneficial for the public. I know the board has seen. There are just a couple slides from Nasoya just on an update as to, so everybody understands when Mary's talking about what's expected on the 23rd, where they are with their plan. And secondly, there was considerable discussion about the air stack and about the smokestack contributing to it.
Can you just go to the chandelier so people can see it at home?
So I think it would be of value to discuss the air dispersion piece and what the plan is from Nasoya at this time for the 23rd.
Quickly, but
yes,
we said several times.
This will be very quick. And it's pretty unexciting.
Are you the new air?
Yes, Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your name?
Yeah, my name is Steve Piper, and I've been an air consultant for 40 years, starting working for EPA and then in the industry. The most common sense thing to me when I first got involved only 6 weeks ago was, let's look at your stack height. If you raise a stack, it ought to disperse more, it ought to be improved. But the answer to that question is dispersion modeling. And we do a dispersion modeling that actually is put out by EPA. Everybody in the country uses the same model. So you won't hire another consultant and get a different answer. Everybody uses AirMod. You can take the local topography. You get 5 years of meteorological data. You look at their building dimensions, and then you go forward the model. Can you go to the next slide?
We've mentioned that before. They sit, so where the Mulberry Circle is, the soil sits low.
Yeah, and that's an issue.
The Mulberry Circle's here, and you see their stack pipe that is probably the same elevation as Westford Road. So, I mean, we've brought that up in layman's
in layman's terms, it makes sense, but that hill is such that if you go to the next slide, I'll show you. We looked at that's the stack that they have, 38 feet. And we went 5 feet, then we went 10 feet, then we went 20 feet. We went up to almost 40 feet. Looking at the design exhaust velocity, and go to the next slide. And much to my surprise, that when we looked at the maximum impact, it didn't change a lot. And that was almost a disappointing answer, because the stack is cheap, and that's the first thing that an air engineer will recommend is a higher stack. But looking at this data, the maximum impact is like right at the fence line. It's actually in the swamp area, behind their area. We looked at the neighborhood impact, which is up on Mulberry Drive, and again, my advice to them was your stack is probably okay, and going forward with a stack rate is not an easy answer. We need to focus on improving the emission controls.
Correct. So we have identified a couple of things that we believe we could do better with our scrubbers, our existing scrubbers, because we're talking about getting a new system that we know it's going to take time to get purchase order release and purchase the equipment, get it installed and everything. But in the meantime, we wanted to start taking action right away. So we're going to install what we determine could be part of the reason why we get a lot of trouble with our scrubbing system, which is the hardness of the water. I believe I commented on this before. So we're going to install a specific water softener for that water, makeup water for the scrubbers. We're going to remove all the packing on the scrubbers. So we're basically going to get them empty and get a new packing, new media inside the scrubber to have a better reaction, because the existing packing is already scaled up and it just needs to be replaced. Before we were doing acid wash to keep them clean, doesn't seem to be enough with the amount of scale that we're getting. We're going to improve the capture of the biotanks. That's to make sure that nothing goes out of the vents without going through the scrubbers. The chemical injection, we're going to change that to make it more effective. So basically, we want to put that injection into after the pump, which will make better a mixture with the water and get immediate reaction with the H2S instead of having the waiting time putting the chemicals on the sump. I know this is kind of technical, but it makes a lot of sense to make those changes to have a faster reaction to fight against the odor.
It's helpful. We heard this on Friday, and we agree these are immediate actions that should.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're working on that today. So we're working on everything.
Just to clarify, I mean, and again, Gary can speak for himself, but we have never felt that they have never dodged us. I mean, I've always felt that they've been responsive. And I appreciate that. It's just the frustration level now has reached a 12. So.
Another solution, and it's to replace the spray nozzles that we have inside the scrubbers to get a better water distribution of those. We're going to get away from the one recommended from the manufacturer and get something different. And that came up as a result of one of the consultant study that we got last week. So those consultants, they were able to provide their experience and letting us know what could work better under this scenario. And those are some of the changes that we can take on action right away. If you can move to the next one.
Yeah.
And then we have the scrubber tree and other options. Again, we have these 3 options on the table. We presented these to the DEP. We requested, I believe I said this before to the Selectmen board, so we requested to improve the existing scrubber tree design that we obtained a month or so ago, because we understand we need to do better. So we understand we needed something better. So we improved the design with the same contractor, having double package with the wet scrubber. But we also requested other consultants to join those efforts to identify what we can do with other kind of system. That's where we got the direct under shower. It's kind of a pre-scrubbing system. And then the thermal oxidizer, which is a new, totally different concept to treat the H2S. Those 3 are being evaluated right now. We will present our decision to the DEP on November 23rd, and that's a commitment. So DEP will evaluate our recommendation, we'll get their feedback, and then once we get the feedback and confirmation, we'll move forward with whatever implementation we need to fix this. We put the note that any of these options will take, give or take 16 weeks lead time for installation. In order in the equipment, get it in-house, install it, get up and running.
What Mr. Peterson made a good point. Best practice, I mean, 90% of the time it's probably either an employee error or an employee being lazy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that this is every time, but it feels like there maybe needs to be a retraining, as Mary Jude said. Pipes and, sorry, the system's overflowed.
Absolutely. As we go ahead and we change part of the equipment, that comes with an intensive training with all operators. Because we're talking about different things here.
Well, I'm talking about extensive training in the practices that go on there tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I mean, I feel like that's there, because there seems to be a consistent case where it's the evening. I don't know if it's the second shift or if you run a third shift, but it's always, I spent last winter emailing Bridget and Robert every evening on my way down Nemco Way. I said it, and I remember what I said, it's every night, 6 o'clock, it's felt like, for months. And weekends seem to be. So I would strongly suggest that looking into the employees' actions could go a long way. Especially over Columbus Day weekend. I don't know if any of you experienced it, but that was about as bad as it's been in a long time.
No, we will definitely take that in consideration. We're actually always enforcing our employment to stay on top of it. I know that I spoke with Bridget before where we said the issue we had with the operator and kind of reinforce the SOP. And I could just briefly explain what happened with that specific action. Instead that we got a truck, the truck overloaded the system, the operator was inside taking care of something else. By the time he went outside to overdose the scrubber to compensate for the amount of H2S, it was a little bit late. So he went over there, he added the extra chemicals, but that already went through the stack, and that's what
I'm
kind of
hoping in a
things we
year
train.
from now, when we have, because accidents happen, we all know that, and you're gonna get a smell occasionally, and we can say, it was an accident. Right now, it's no consolation that the,
Yes, and this is what we're trying to avoid with these options. We're trying to design these options to compensate for any upset or accident condition. And that's what we're looking at right now. That's why I said in the last meeting that I wanted to take analysis when we are on a upset condition or a truck condition or whatever, to include that into the design, making sure that's also.
and do you have
covered.
alarms? So let's say an employee does do something, there's an accident, that you're notified right away? I mean, it doesn't take Dawn to come home at 8 o'clock at night to let you guys know, because sometimes that seems what happens, or myself notifying Bridget. I think some residents have just given up. So are there alarm, do you have internal alarms that when you know something's going on?
Yes. Yeah, we do have internal alarms. Many times they have not correlated with other events or when we get the phone call from the neighborhood. And then we have to look back and see what fell and see what happened. And I believe we're trying to get better at that. So that's why we're also purchasing more, along with the system, we're purchasing more analytical instruments to get more readings, to get more data, making sure we capture everything.
Quick question, as you're doing these immediate fixes, where I'm going to assume you're going to be taking some of the product or some of the line down, should we anticipate an increase in odor as you're doing this, since you're not going to be running a full system from a scrubbing standpoint?
No, it shouldn't, because before we were able to make a parallel connection between both scrubbers, so I can work on one at a time, and that will give me the option to keep scrubbing with one scrubber and clean this one, and then alternate to the other one. So you shouldn't feel that preventive maintenance with an odor. Or this action shouldn't contribute with an odor.
In an odor for 10 minutes or an hour, 2 is great. When it starts Friday night and extends all the way to Groton by Sunday night, there's got to be a way to make that, stop that, I would think. But we don't need to get into the technical stuff. We'll be here all night because I feel like I'm an expert now from all your visits.
Well, you make a good point. I mean, it worked for so long, then boom, it stopped working. So did something happen in between?
Yeah.
Because it was, to the DEP, we had a meeting here, I think 2 years ago, and it was the Board of Health, and then our board had Mr. Riglin and their overseas CEO came, and they were committed, and I think it stopped almost immediately, didn't it? Within a couple weeks, would you say?
After that meeting, it stopped, because that was the day that I watched the guy unloading a liquid into the drain. And I was like, so that worked well.
Yeah, and it was great. I think we kind of all forgot about it until last winter, so, hopefully you can look back and see what...
Might be a correlation.
All right, I guess I don't even know what to say. I guess thank you for coming and putting up with our frustration. I know you're working on it, and I would ask if you could, you can see now, kind of. And these are all good people. These aren't people that pick up the phone and complain because there's a dog barking next door. And this is a quiet neighborhood. A lot of families. This is where you walk your dog, ride your bikes. You bring your kids trick or treating. It's not and it really has become a major issue.
No, I appreciate that people are willing to come and sit through a meeting and listen to people talk government talk.
Yeah.
Because it's important to them. So I take that as evidence of the importance of this to the town.
Hillary Curtis from number 1 Mulberry Circle. I just want to say that we are really friendly, optimistic people, and we really appreciate people being here. But I think the point where I was intellectually really grasping all of this and having hope is in the past. And so now it's this emotional frustration, pitchforks, and stop it. It's because it's been going on. And so, but I appreciate all the conversation, and there's a lot of wonderful people involved. I appreciate how many times, though, I've heard, it's our top priority, we're committed to it, it's gonna stop. I can't hear that one more time and have faith in it. I keep hearing that from the soil. I don't want to hear it anymore. I just want the smell to stop, and I promise I won't call anyone ever again. That's all we want. And it's a neighborhood of people, and there's a lot of people. And it would be great if we could have a town meeting and get more people who I know are even a little more rabid than I am about this. So it would be great to have another meeting for that.
Okay. Thanks for coming again.
And I apologize. I know, Don, you and I speak often, and we're trying as much as
I
we.
appreciate you and the Board of Health's efforts. I do.
Yes.
And Representative Benson's been on board, and was a big help yesterday in moving forward. The lines of communication are open, so hopefully all of us can work because we want you to succeed. Honestly, it'd be great that you are a profitable company for the town. You can figure out what you're going to do for their neighborhood afterwards. But that's the ultimate goal, is to have you there, employ people, and we not know you're there.
So you guys will update us?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sir, can you agree to that consent decree about 30 seconds after you leave the room so we can get the third party on board, please?
Yeah, we are already researching some potential company we can work with.
Okay. So hopefully that would be good, and that would take Bridget driving out at
Absolutely.
10:30 at night, which is not good for anybody, especially her.
A much better way to go.
All right.
Thank you for
If
your
it was only
time.
12 times, we wouldn't all be here.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, thank you.
You're more exciting sometimes, but thanks. Thank you for coming.
Isn't she staying?
What?
Isn't she staying?
Robert, do you want to introduce Nicole to Representative Benson maybe as she's on her way out? I know Alan and John, obviously. Oh, yeah. Be careful. Yeah. It's my, that is my default bus, missed the bus route. So we're in Mulberry Circle 3 times a week because we miss it in Nemco. It's fly out and hop around the circle. No, I feel like my blood pressure's going through the roof. Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you can give a report.
Could do it fast. So you get everybody out.
I talked to him on the phone last night. He sounded fine.
Yeah, you sound fine, yes.
Oh, that is. They're useless.
We ready to roll?
Yeah.
Robert, why don't you Gentlemen, if you don't mind, the cameras are on. And, thank you. Alvin, again, we appreciate you coming and getting stuff thrown at you. But did that gentleman say he's going from Korea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Robert, why don't you, let
In
Carly
light
give
of
the report?
in light of my voice, I will defer to my assistant.
That would be great, and I don't think that's it, right?
Yeah.
We just have a few action items, but for administrative report, like obviously the town meeting is Monday night, October 23rd at 7 o'clock up at the Ayer Shirley Regional High School. We have been and continue to encourage people to visit the website. All the information's up there. It's right on the front page. Cindy has a link for town meeting information, has all the public forum information, and all the documents referenced when talking about the government reorganization. We've actually gotten a few calls too this week, just follow-up questions. We're happy to take calls or emails as well.
How'd that session go?
Very well.
Good.
Yeah, very well.
I've had some positive feedback too. A lot of questions from people I know,
Yeah.
but I mean, just questions, not really yay or nay. But that's good.
Oh, good.
And the warrants were mailed, and I believe they hit
Yeah, they came in.
Saturday.
Yeah, Friday or Saturday they
Yep.
came in. Yeah.
We're currently interviewing the facilities director candidates. We did interviews yesterday. It was myself, Robert, Chief Pedrazi. The police department had submitted questions. We interviewed 4 candidates. We've received 21 applications. So we hope to be narrowing that down towards the end of this week. And we'll need to post a Board of Selectmen meeting after the town meeting on October 23rd if Articles 13 and 14 pass on the recreational marijuana, to call a special election. Because both those articles need an
Can
election.
we not do it on Halloween? It's the only thing I ask.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. It's Halloween, so.
No, it's,
All right.
There's like at least,
Sorry.
I want to say 60-day turnaround, 30 to 60-day turnaround from the Secretary of State's
All right.
office to even print ballots. So, but the we have to have the wording exact. So I would venture a guess it would probably be January timeframe.
That's fine. I was
Yeah.
doing the meetings in my head, and Tuesday popped up as Halloween, and then I realized because of the town meeting we were skipping that. So.
Excuse me, Callie, could you explain that again about the election? Because I had asked the town clerk, and she didn't think we had to, so within...
No, so there's no time limit to have the election,
Okay.
but because the Secretary of State's office prints the ballots for us, I believe it's 30 or 60 days for them to actually get it and turn them around. Usually it's quicker, but they do have a deadline.
Thank you.
Or they have an allotted time where they can print those ballots for us. So that's it for the administrative update at this time. It's a little chilly in here, but we haven't converted over yet because it's going to be 75.
Feels good.
Yeah.
I've been home a facilities director, so it might be a while.
24th.
Yeah, we
you
have
have
a
a company
target
at
for the
SAC,
24th,
right.
which is next week.
Which is late, but it's been so warm.
This
Yeah.
feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So some action items. We have the Historical Commission got a letter of interest from Casey Campetti. We forwarded it over to the Historical Commission. They're recommending appointment. It's an unexpired 3-year term that would expire June 30th of 2018.
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Okay, and then we received a memo, which I'm very sorry did not put in the packet, from the town planner, that the planning board on October 5th voted to declare a vacancy for due to the resignation of planning board member Jen Gibbons. So the planning board is requesting that the Board of Selectmen declare a vacancy as well and schedule a joint meeting with the planning board for the purposes of filling the vacancy. And that's pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 11.
That would be an appointment, right? That would not be a special election. I think Jennifer was an appointment, right?
So the appointment would be for the balance of the term. And we're recommending that the joint hearing be on November, as part of your November 7th meeting.
November 7th. Yeah.
And deadlines will be the Friday before for applicants.
Okay.
So anyone interested would just have to submit an email or a letter of interest to Robert's email, which is ta@ayer.ma.us, or they can drop a letter right to the town administrator's office.
And we can do that on the website. I know you guys do everything on the website, but it's good. People.
Do we have to take action on that? Or the
Yeah,
planning board does?
you'd vote to declare the vacancy and to schedule the joint hearing for November 7th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're getting good at this 2 minutes.
And more from the world of planning. We've been having, since we have a town planner on board, every Thursday at 2, we convene a land use working group meeting, which consists of Robert, myself, the town planner, the building commissioner, economic development, and DPW. As the planner has come on board, it's evident that the zoning bylaw is almost there. It's almost there, but in order to do public outreach and get buy-in from the public, he definitely needs to do more information forms. The planning board has been doing some, but just during their regular meetings. I don't know that they were necessarily did a lot of outreach for those. So we have checked with the high school. We're requesting that the Board of Selectmen schedule a special town meeting on March 19th, which is a Monday night, 2018, for the sole purpose of deliberating and voting on the updated zoning bylaw. Mark feels, our town planner feels it gives more time to do a proper public outreach campaign.
We can't agenda it like it happened. Remember the last time it was like Article 39?
Well, that's...
You remember 4 years ago,
Right.
Jeremy got up and then someone said,
Yeah.
motion to adjourn, and it was like,
So because of that,
poor guy.
because of that, we believe that the article alone is going to be about 12 pages long. So we need to do the outreach. But we also believe that it should be its own Article 1, single item for town meeting, so that we can do the proper presentation and explain the questions. As you're correct, Mr. Chair, in the past, when we put it on the spring town meeting with all the financials, it just got tabled or shoved aside. The fall, sort of the same thing with other matters.
Yeah.
So I know we're asking, a lot to convene a special town meeting, but it's in the best interest to finally make progress on this. So we would
hanging forever.
Yeah.
so we would need you to, a motion, as Carly said, to call the special election. The special town meeting.
For, do you have a date?
Monday, March 19th, 2018.
There?
Make a motion to call a special town meeting for zoning bylaws on March 19th of 2018.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last thing on the agenda is the microphone's on, the MBTA and rail update. As you can see,
The green fence is beautiful.
yeah, that's the new fence, the orange one now. So
Oh, the orange one.
yeah, DPW and Keolis have been working over there on and off for the past couple weeks, taking down the old fence, cut the trees. Keolis did everything on their side, on the rail side. DPW did most of the stuff on our side, shrubs, cutting down trees.
Looks good, actually.
Yeah, and then we actually, Keolis was out there with their big equipment. We had sent pictures to the board, moving all those gross rail ties
Wasn't it
and
amazing?
stuff.
Like, not to interrupt, it was absolutely amazing. I saw the picture you guys sent, that huge front end loader with the big arms on it, completely full with railroad ties right up behind, here, just that were just scattered. Does it look a lot better? I haven't been over to Bly Street in Maine. Is it a big difference?
Big difference.
Good, because that was really a problem. That's great.
We've received positive feedback
Yeah.
from not only the church, but neighbors over there.
The fence is going, obviously they can't do
Yeah.
a temporary fence. for
Right, so
winter.
they've already started the fence company that we contracted with out of Harvard.
Mhm.
They've started today.
Okay.
So you should see posts and panels, it should be completed by next Tuesday, like the finished product. But thank you to Alan, because he's really been pursuing that and keeping Keolis, MBTA, DPW, and the contractor all on the same page has been a feat. But,
I'm sure
we're
it
finally
is.
at that point that we'll have a nice new fence in a week. So
Are they still planning Willow Road, Sandy Pond Road? Of course, yeah.
It's on the docket,
Yes,
for
and-
sure.
Alright.
For sure. The MBTA is solely responsible for the Willow Road situation.
That's a mess.
We're going to remove that hydrant.
It's on there.
We're going to remove the hydrant, and our people have been trained
Yeah, I talked to Rick Lindy, but I
So-
had to go to special training. or
Yes,
something with the hybrid.
we continue, Carly and I, to make it crystal clear to Mr. Boyle and the MBTA that Willow Road is a priority, the platform, and the rest of the corridor. So yes.
And Pan Am should be notified too,
And Pan Am
because
is-
there's
Yes.
ties all the way down their tracks on Willow Road and everywhere else. And
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
we-
I sent you pictures of Wagon Road too, a big stack that are.
Yeah, send the photos
Yeah.
so we can tell them.
Yeah, we've, like the past couple of weeks, been talking to Cindy
Scarano.
Scarano from
And she's-
Pan Am at least weekly. on
And she's
different
good,
matters.
right? The response is
Oh, yeah,
decent.
she's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. No, I've always found that as well.
And, you know, to her credit or discredit, I mean, sometimes it's, oh, that's MBTA's. So
Oh,
then we have
yeah,
to
yeah,
go
it's
back.
frustrating, yeah.
It is frustrating, but we're making
We're making
progress,
progress.
which is nice.
Yeah, good.
So
And it
that-
remains a priority per this board.
Yep.
Yeah, and just the difference a day made out here shows. I mean, it's not hard to make a big improvement.
No.
And we'll give them all the credit in the world once it's all done, if
Yeah.
that's what they want.
So those are all the action items for Robert's report.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Do we have any selectmen's questions or updates or concerns or?
We have plenty of concerns. I don't have anything that's, big or anything.
Just one question: is the DPW making their own signs now for the street signs? They look a little different, and they seem to be going up faster. Are they making them in-house? Like the lettering's changed a little bit. I mean, they look fine. I just noticed they did. I saw them doing long view, which is the
Okay.
willows.
Yeah.
I
And I'm just curious. I know they used to make them in-house, and the letters are different.
Do they look okay?
They look good. They have the symbol on them. I mean, it's just a little bit different.
We'll find out.
I'm just curious.
I don't
if-
Oh, maybe the street signs they do. I know like the new senior center one they had to send out, but
Yeah, are they still using mass cord? Yeah.
Last
Okay.
I knew, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just curious if that, I just noticed the lettering was a little different. Maybe they were doing it, but they look good.
Yeah.
Glad they're replacing them.
Is there anything on East Main Street? I know they have a thing upstairs, but have you heard anything?
In terms of,
When it's gonna start or?
yeah, they're doing the conceptual,
Yeah.
the meetings right now, and they're gonna
Okay.
come back to you guys,
Okay.
to the Board of Selectmen with a presentation. So it is
It's up in the spring.
in the spring.
2022, she said up there. She did. You can ask on.
What?
So,
yeah, that was
Yeah.
because it's on the tip list. So
Oh.
it's been,
Yeah.
they moved it back, but Mark is already on it to
Mark
move it.
is-
And
yeah.
not even where it was
Yeah,
supposed to be to move it
Yeah.
up.
And we can solicit.
Not only the delegation, but my colleagues in the Neshoba Town Administrative Working
Okay.
Group.
I'm going
About
MPO tomorrow.
moving it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a
Oh,
perfect.
I'm going
opportunity.
tomorrow.
Are you going to the MPO?
Yeah,
All right, we'll
because
connect.
Bertrand can't make it.
Let's connect them. Yeah,
Okay.
we gotta move that from 2022.
Okay.
It's typical games.
2022.
Oh, Mr. Wetzel is on top of it.
Oh, I'm sure
He
he's
went
fired
through the
up
roof.
with it. Carly, Christmas lights you're on schedule. You're dealing with the same people.
The
Hopefully.
fundraising went out this week and.
Oh, that's what I should have hit him up for tonight. Sawyer.
I think you'll get.
I was soliciting something.
They were actually the
Trees or
top
paving
donor.
or something.
They were the top donor for the past 2 years.
They're going to be this year too.
Yeah. So, but no, that all went out, but we have a good starting balance and we had double left over minus the town meeting appropriation than we did the first year. But we're going to keep everything the same. And the permit went to MassDOT today for the Rotary, so we're good.
And it looked awesome last year, so
Yeah.
hopefully
Thanks.
they
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they're a good company to
I
work
mean, I
with.
thought it looked nice when I did it.
No,
Not
not
like that. Can we, I know, I bring it up every year. Will the Chiefs look into doing something? Closing down the Rotary? I mean, it's just,
Boy, you are persistent like the.
I just think it worked really well the first 2 years.
Staple. What can you do with
You
the
can't close down the state road.
But I mean, the first year, the second year is when Chief Murray was on site, and it was, and I agree, they had a call or something. They didn't call in detail, so it was him alone. It was raining. The first year it was organized.
Yeah, it was pouring.
Yeah, it was pouring. The first year, the state police came in. They really, I mean, Cindy, I think you were there. I mean, it really went well.
Oh, the first year? It was
Yeah,
great.
6 o'clock on a Sunday night. It was,
The weather was good.
weather was good.
But we are actually planning our stroll again for December 2nd.
And that's cool too. I'm just saying, I think that's an awesome idea too. But like the whole flipping on the light, because it's so spectacular now.
All the lights.
Like they do it at Littleton Common, and I know that's probably just as dangerous. But I know I'm persistent. But it wasn't a cool event. Santa Claus in the fire truck with Pedrazi coming by and waving, and we did it up that second year, Gary.
We could make a comment somewhere?
What?
Can we make a comment?
Make a comment. What is a comment? We could.
Grass it in over here.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
The decision was made in consultation with both chiefs.
Oh no, I understand. No,
Yeah.
I agree. I'm
That
just
it
I'm
wasn't
just
just a-
asking if there's any thought that is there any way it could be safer. Because I mean, I think that first year there was a couple hundred people out there. I mean, it was you were there, Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, and Mary. It was busy.
Yeah.
And people, it's pretty cool to see them flipped on for the first time.
Don't put it on your Christmas list, but I'll talk to the elves.
Okay. I know what they're gonna say, but
You know what they're gonna say.
yeah,
But I will ask. You've asked. I'll ask them.
yeah. Or maybe we can just say the lights are going on at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. If people want to go see them, they can.
They'll be on at 4 o'clock the day after Thanksgiving
Awesome.
on the
And we will.
time, 4 to midnight.
Will be fixed. The breaker issue.
What's that?
The breaker issue has been fixed.
Twice. An elf?
And,
Are you asking or you saying?
No, it was.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we should be good. Great.
Minutes? Is tonight? October 3rd?
October 3rd.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve of minutes, Board of Selectmen minutes. Tuesday,
Second.
October 3rd.
All in favor? Aye. Make a motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.